Debra Morrison, a 42-year financial expert. Welcome to the We Can Do It Women interview series, and I'm your host, Debra Morrison, and I am delighted to share with you a special guest today, Sara Freeman-Smith. And we're going to get to Sara right away, but in the meantime, Sara, welcome to the show.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
You bet. And I'm so glad to have you here. And we're going to get right into it. I, of course, am hosting this and doing so as an inspiration to our viewing audience, in that we can learn from each other and be
Mhm.
empowered from each other. Now, I'm a 47-year financial expert, and I have marshaled women just like you through some financial challenges. And yet, I'm
Right.
always interested in bringing people in from various aspects of life who have overcome barriers and hurdles. And that is nothing short of true about our guest today, Sara Freeman-Smith. And I'll give you a little bit about her. She is coming to us from Houston, Texas. She's an inspirational voice for
Yes.
women seeking to bloom in every season of life. She's a former HR, human resources, and recruiting leader, had held several corporate roles. She's an accomplished author, speaker, disability advocate, and entrepreneur. She knows firsthand what it means to turn obstacles into opportunities. She lost her vision mid career, but she didn't let adversity define her. Instead, she leaned into faith, resilience, and purpose, and transformed her own quote unquote pity party into a Propel party. I want to congratulate you for that transformation, Sara, and just talk to us about how this happened. Amazing transformation for you. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I have to thank God because trust me, if it was left up to me, I think I would still be wallowing in that pity party with a bag of chips and a
Yeah,
glass of Merlot. Okay.
right, right.
But I had to move forward. It was something that was genetic, just totally out of the blue. And really, living in Houston, the medical center, capital of the world, you would think they could come up with, I kept saying, okay, they're going to come up with a solution. I can do some drops, some things, adjust my eyeglasses, and I'll be good to go. But many, many tests and evaluations and various meetings with all kinds of doctors in the ocular field, they ultimately concluded it was genetic and that they could not, really prevent me from totally losing my sight. And so they could only try to slow down the train wreck, as they stated, with some preventative medications. But it continually diminished. And here I am in a recruiting role, which,
Oh,
Deborah, obviously that's a people facing, role. I'm going, oh
absolutely.
my gosh, everything is built on my vision.
Right.
How am I going to do this? And I had been, actually, my mother used to tell people I've been recruiting even in kindergarten, telling people, okay, you're going to be on my team, go over here and you're going to play this, and this is what, I'm just recruiting people all over the place. So it was my love and passion. So
Yes.
I kept saying, what am I going to do? And, I tell people when you lose something as monumental as vision, it's like going through the grieving process. It's almost
Absolutely.
like the seven steps, and
Absolutely.
that's what you want to go through denial. I even totally tried to hide it. Didn't even tell my husband and my son at the time. I mean, I just kept saying, "Oh, they're looking at doing some things," and it wasn't bad at that point. I just knew you try to do little workarounds. I had about 40 different little sizes of magnifiers, like, doing the little Sherlock Holmes. I'd sneak it out to catch an email or a resume and then drop it back in my desk or something so
Yes.
people couldn't see what I was doing. But ultimately, having the exposure in HR and knowing that there were laws that allowed for accommodations, I had to do what I tell people is so, so challenging for some of us type A personality type women. And that was to ask. I
Yes.
had to swallow the pride. I had to swallow all of that independence, all
Yeah.
of the things, because I was the helper. I mean, people
Yes.
came to me to get the help. And here I am having to ask for help and assistance and workarounds. So that was my major hurdle. And as I stated, going from a pity party to a Propel party, it was one Saturday afternoon. I'm just going, why me, Lord? I'm doing all these things. I'm active in the community. I'm active in my church.
Sure,
You know,
yes.
I'm doing all these things, and I'm just, why? And it was clear that as if a voice spoke loudly, and why not you?
Mm.
What makes you any better than others who've suffered far longer than you have? I'm in, my late 40s, early 50s at that particular time. And I
Wow.
had already experienced a wonderful life with, vision. And here, as the voice spoke to me, say, let's just take a tour of MD Anderson Hospital where there's infants there. And
Yeah.
let's just walk down the hall. So you want to sit here and have a pity party because you can still see, not as good, but you're trying to figure out how you can still be independent. You just go and do what you need to do, and I will provide all that you need. And so I had to put my trust and faith in God, and I had to say, my blindness will not define me. It is not who I am. I'm still the same. I just need to do things with accessibility tools and work around and be willing to ask for help when I need it. And that was that major step. And then being blessed to work for an organization that
Yes.
obviously knew that I was qualified, before I had this vision,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
situation. So they were willing to work with me, and I continued to successfully navigate my career. But what I recognized, Deborah, was there were other people with disabilities that we were overlooking, that we were putting in our mindset saying, a blind person couldn't do this, someone in a wheelchair couldn't do this, someone who had a hearing impairment. I mean, how do you know what one can do until you sit down and ask and then find out what type of tools and accessibilities that are available? So that's what led me to really determine, since I was already helping people find jobs, to start focusing on helping people in the disability community do so as well.
Uh, Amazing. I'm sitting here just amazed. I certainly understand that whole tour through a hospital, Anderson Hospital. I mean, yeah, I've done that a couple times into the children's
Hmm.
ward, and
Hmm.
it's sobering, as you know, and as you've
Oh, it
experienced.
is.
So we do have so much to be grateful for, and yet,
I'm
as
grateful
I
for.
remember, you
Mhm.
and I were chatting before. And this came on pretty gradually, like you like couldn't
Yes.
see a
Yeah.
traffic signal or something. A sign.
Exactly. Just driving and couldn't see the signage.
Yeah.
We were on a family vacation. Okay, take this exit. I was already past the exit, and they go, Mom, why'd you? I said, Oh, I didn't see it until. So then the next one, okay, well then take such and such. And I'm still missing it, and I'm going. And I wore glasses, but not thick or
Yeah.
anything. They were just no big deal. So I thought, okay, I'm late 40s. Okay, I got to go on and get, high powered glasses. And
Hmm.
unfortunately,
Hmm.
I'd been there 6 or 7 months before. And he said, Oh, no, this is a dramatic loss. And that's when, they're thinking, did you fall? Did you get
Yeah.
sick?
Yeah.
Nothing. Just, and thankfully, by the grace of God, right now, I'm so fortunate. I really don't have any other significant health issues. It's just the fact that unless it's a big 18 wheeler with Sarah written on the side, that's the only way I'm going to see what's going on. So, but I'm so thankful for all the accessibility tools, and then the wonderful support groups and organizations that I'm a part of. That when I think about what I'm doing, and then I look at people who have been born blind from birth, and
Yeah.
they just, it's pale to what I even can think that I can do. And they're just zooming around, and I'm going, oh, I have no reason to be,
Uh,
ungrateful. So I'm very fortunate and blessed. Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
that shift that you have navigated beautifully is so admirable, and I commend you. I certainly can imagine that there's a whole population that hasn't quite evolved to your extent, and so
Right.
I'm praising you.
No.
You then write a couple books. You write a self-improvement book called "Turning Stones into Gems: Learn How to Find Purpose in Your Life and Career." Talk to us about the practical steps that and the resources that you unleash in that book.
Right. Well, that. book was initially written, this is my third edition that came out about a
Yes.
year and a half, 2 years ago, was about 25 years ago. Again, as I stated, recruiting has always been my passion, trying
Yeah.
to help people land jobs. And I just wasn't getting satisfied in my own career. I felt like I was just checking off the boxes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, go and hire X number of people. You make X, amount of money. I'd already got my little business suit. I was going to have my picture on the front cover of Fortune magazine, all, climb corporate success. But it was unfulfilling until some of my friends said, Sarah, you do more than recruiting. You help people find their purpose, because I would tell people, hey, I cannot hire you until you do this. If you could go and get this additional training, or you did great in the interview, but this is the things that you need to do. So I would encourage them and even ask them, if you've had an accounting job, every year you're changing jobs, maybe is this really what you want to do? Because it sounds like to me you may be a mediocre accountant. And then they go, well, I really always wanted to be sales, but I figured I couldn't make any money. So, and then you start talking and nobody ever asked them those questions. And I said, well, have you tried doing this? Maybe you could start it on a side. So that's what led me to say, okay, if I can help people
Yeah.
find their purpose, what about me? And suddenly I reversed it. It wasn't just to help people land jobs, it was
Yeah.
really to start asking questions. And so I would give them some free assessments, because sometimes some people just don't know. They don't know
Right.
if they don't know. And if you
Exactly.
go through some assessments, they suddenly realize, yeah, I'm always good with numbers, but I don't want to be an accountant. Well, that's more than you can do, a lot more than just being an accountant, because you're good with
Ex-
numbers and details and things.
Exactly.
So probing and asking. So in my book, I talked about the steps that I had to get off the merry-go-round to kind of home in and really, really lean in to figure out. And it started with prayer, meditation. I call it my 6 Ps. First and
Mm.
foremost, you got to have quiet time. We are
Yes.
so busy. We're so wrapped up in social media, all the extra things that we do. And we never find that time, that quiet stillness. So
Yeah.
that you can really, for me, being a religious person, hear God speak. I'm always asking, but I don't hang around long enough to hear. It's like
I
Zoom.
know.
It's up on the knees, off. Here we go. So it was prayer is so it's a conversation. It is a
Yes.
two-way conversation. Then it leads into a plan, because when you have prayer, God gave me a plan. The problem is I wasn't listening and paying attention, and it was a very clear roadmap. Then the plan begins to form, but then you also have to have a passion for what you do, because if you're just doing it for the money, it's never going to be satisfying. It's got to
Right.
be something driving behind that, what you really, really want to do. And once you home in on that passion, you got to have the patience, because it's not going to happen overnight. And being able to pour into yourself, more important, we as women invest in ourselves instead of pouring out and doing it with others. That's the other P, is having the patience to stay the course. And then you need to persevere, because you are going to hit some roadblocks. You're going to get negative people that say, I don't think you're going to ever be successful at that. Why do you want to speak? Why do you want to do this? So I tell
Yeah.
people, why surround yourself with negative people? You can do that. You can tear yourself down all by yourself. I don't need help to do that. Thank you so very much. So
Love that. Love that.
do
Yeah.
not need you to tear me down. I have my own little self-talk pity party going on. You know what I mean?
My little monkey
So
mind. Yeah.
so the whole book, in the end, the last P is to pull someone else, pave it forward. And it talks about, and I use in my presentations, a geode, which is an ugly rock,
Oh,
until
yes,
you
of course.
crack it open and it's beautiful
Yes.
quartz crystal. It's about learning your true value, your true worth is on the inside, not what we see outside. So if you work from an inside outward perspective, that's what makes the difference. And that's what Turning Stones is all about, taking that time to really understand your true value and your worth and go out, pursue it. And I guarantee you, if you do what you love to do and have a passion, it doesn't feel like work, not a day. It's just something I can do it at 3 o'clock in the morning. I just love
Exactly.
what I do. So
Exactly.
yes, so
Exactly.
it's laying that foundation and giving
Yeah.
people steps. helping them to kind of reprioritize. Look at, there's an action planner that I have in the book, because my problem was I had stuff all over the place, but it was all not in the proper order and not, from a priority perspective. So repositioning that, and then just sitting down. I even began to take notes and do a prayer and a gratitude journal. So between the assessments and some of the other books and in those types of resources, that's what Turning Stones and Gems is all about, finding that purpose.
Amazing. Well, this is no small feat, and a massive gift, a possibility that you've given
Hmm.
to, hundreds, if not thousands of your,
Right.
sphere in your profession, in your church life, and
Hmm.
so forth and so on, in your
Hmm.
books. Then, rediscovering people's passion, right?
Right.
Reigniting their careers
Hmm.
and
Exactly.
realizing, yeah, go ahead.
Mhm. Yeah, and realizing what we are our own worst enemy. It's our self-talk. We convince ourselves
Yes,
so
yes,
many times that we can't accomplish or achieve it, or don't have the wherewithal when it's standing right there. And
in
again, that
front of
big
us.
word is ask. If you just start looking in front of you, there are helpers have been there all along, just waiting to help. But you got to make the first step. You got to ask, and that's that first leap of faith. So definitely.
I couldn't agree more. And then your husband Mac and you
Hmm.
co-authored How to Self-Publish and Market Your Own
Yeah.
Book. And then you
Well,
founded You
yeah.
Are Gems LLC, a
We
publishing and
had to do
electronic
it.
firm.
Yeah. We started publishing because people said, "Hey, how did you take that little old ugly cookbook looking handmade book?" And I was selling it in the Houston area. And people were going to the bookstore saying, "We want to pick up this book." And the bookstore saying, "We don't have the book." And they couldn't pull it up in their computers. Well, again, I stopped by Barnes and Noble, asked them, "How could I get the book in the store?" They told me the things that I needed to do. I did it. And they not only told me what I needed to do, but they offered me an opportunity to be one of the local authors that they present during the holidays,
Oh,
to have my book. And I'm going, oh my God, what a wonderful blessing. So people said, how did you do this? And there were so many people. Every life has a story. And I
yeah.
tell people, don't be so dismissive, because so many people told me, you need to write a book, Sarah. You're very inspirational. And I'm going, no, I love to speak, but I'm not about to write a book. It's not going on time. Who New York Times bestseller, Simon and Schuster's not sending me any money for. Let's hear the Sarah story. No, but I kept dismissing that notion, because again, God spoke to me and he said, if you can help just a few hundred people when you go out and speak, imagine what you're going to do with a book. The book can reach thousands that you're not even aware of. And so that's what we begin to show people, the steps we took and what you had to do. And it's a lot of work
Oh,
especially if you self-publish. But we also wanted them to know self-publishing isn't the right thing for everyone, because some people need to go the traditional route, but home in on make sure you've got a good quality product, but understand the nuances that go along with the traditional publishing, because it's not all glamour and roses either. So people could make an informed choice. So that's what led us to write the book and help people, to kind of help them take their dreams to full fruition. Yeah.
well, amazing. And you're exactly right. There are pitfalls in that process.
Oh
I
yes.
self-published a couple, and yeah, I mean, some of them have been more rocky, and some
Oh
of
yeah.
them been more
Hmm.
smooth. And yet, I know that there are a number of women in our group that are writing books and looking to write books. And
Oh
so we're
wow.
going to
Yeah.
give them your contact information afterwards because,
Absolutely.
you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
you can steer them, pretty
Oh,
clearly.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, my husband and I are going to put together a workshop within the first quarter, just on Zoom, just to
Great.
offer some people for about an hour and a half, 90-minute session, just some of the basic things and nuances to make sure this is something, self-publishing is something they want to do, or tell them the direction if they want to go traditional publishing, what they need to do to prepare for it, but to be able, to make those informed choices themselves. And then we're updating our book as well to come out a little bit, probably in the spring. So we're definitely trying to help as many people get their stories out.
Well, I know you're in your third publication already, so
Mhm.
you're just blasting along.
Yeah, we are absolutely. And writing is it's such it's a freeing process for me. I resisted it, but then when I started and with writing with my husband now, that's a challenge because we both go, I'm a talker and he's the introvert. He says
Okay.
less, I say more. So I'm going, okay, well, here we got to find the meetings of the mind, so to
That's
speak.
right. That's
But
right.
we've learned to partner, and this has been very rewarding. So we know that we are doing what we have been purposed and gifted to do as a help to others. So we're excited.
It certainly sounds like a wonderful collaboration. And
Right.
you're such a foremother for challenging, to your point, challenging the myths, right, about
Oh,
employing
yes,
people with
dispelling.
w-
Yes,
right
exactly.
now. I mean,
Hmm.
to the point that you realize as you're losing your sight, you're like, holy camolie, there are
Hmm.
a host of myths and
Oh,
I don't
right,
know,
right.
presuppositions or whatever, pre-notions that
Exactly.
come into our mindset that say, oh, not them. And when
Right.
these people outshine fully
Hmm.
able-bodied people,
Hmm.
right?
Exactly, exactly. So I was helping a young man in his early 20s who can build a computer from scratch and has been blind since birth.
Oh my
He
gosh.
types 100 words a minute.
Oh, Sarah.
Can
Wow.
put the computer to build it
Oh my.
all from touch and just, I mean, it's amazing. And when people ask me, oh, how do you want, can you read this, I said, thank goodness for androids and iPhone. I'm an iPhone evangelist because they were the first to put in accessibility tools. But now
Exactly.
the Android phones,
Yeah.
and I have Meta Ray-Ban glasses. Meta has
Mm.
partnered with Ray-Ban to put together glasses that I can put on and ask, read this label, describe the room. Do you see, an older gentleman that's standing over in the corner who I'm trying to find my husband? I mean, it's just amazing the kind of accessibility and the tools that one has available. But the only way you can find out is to be a part and to, connect with support organizations who stay abreast and advocate for all of these things for equal accessibility and inclusiveness and opportunity. So when people find out I can work just as efficiently on a computer or my tablet, as a matter of fact, just yesterday I was trying to help my husband do something on his phone, and I said I turned voiceover on his iPhone, fixed it, and he said, "Well, how did you notice?" I said, "I can't see there, but I heard the button, so that's all you need to do." So
Oh,
I
that's
find
amazing.
myself helping sighted people,
I
use
love that.
technology. So
I love
you
that.
just
Well,
have, and you're never too old to learn. You always should be willing to learn something to make yourself better.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you are a one for saying never too late to shine or be a
No,
blessing. And you are both
never
shining
late.
and a blessing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's age is just a number. So that's what you have to do.
I love that. Well, you are really filling such an important need for particularly women, Sarah, in terms of your unique power to uplift others, not
Hmm.
only to ask them, invite them to silence their little
Hmm.
monkey mind or chatterboxes,
Hmm.
and yet to realize their potential such
Right.
that they, it kind of feels to me like they're little buds until you get to them, and then
Exactly, exactly. And again, if you diminish yourself again, that self-talk, once you take that out of the equation and that other toxicity, and again, some people are in situations that it makes it conducive for them not to think in a positive manner, but being
yes.
able to convince them when you need it, I'm here, if nothing else, just to encourage you, but don't quit and don't give up because you're so close to achieving your dreams. And that's it. And it always happens that it's just amazing. I'll just start talking to people at the grocery store, and the next thing they go, oh my gosh, you just don't know how much you encourage me. And I'm going, what? Okay. Well, all I was doing was just talking and just hope that I can just encourage you just to go out and be the best that you can obviously be. Yeah.
Well, Sarah, I'm going to invite you to take the just out of what you just said because you do all of that.
Uh,
And I think you do it. I know you do it with aplomb. This is so true, and we've heard it a million times. But Dr. Joe Dispenza, of course, talks about. I was one of the first to illuminate that
mhm,
our brain cannot discern between what we're imagining or thinking and
mhm.
what we are actually experiencing. And so, why? pollute
Right.
our vessels, if you will,
Hmm.
to thwart the growth
Hmm.
and the spurts of insight
Hmm.
and opportunity that you've certainly espoused. So I
Right.
congratulate you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. But no, I truly, sometimes, as they say, you got to pour some even into yourself. There's some mornings you got to get up and just go, okay. No, there's no reason, especially when you start thinking, and again, thinking about what you have versus
Yeah.
when you focus on all the things you don't have, guess what? You're going to get more of just exactly what you're focusing on. So
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
just stop. I just go, I can't control it. And again, if I can't control it, why am I wasting my few little matter that I've got left up here to go
Yeah.
try to fix something that I can't fix? So I'm going to focus on and learn to be grateful for what I have so I will get more of what I have. And
Ah,
that's that type of focus. Just always, always focus on the positive things, the things that you already have. And
well,
I think it leaves you in a much better place. It really does.
it certainly does. And I am completely in agreement with your assessment, your approach, and I love the work you're doing. And I want to ask you, how can our people be in touch with you? What's the easiest way for them to reach you, Sarah?
Absolutely. Well, they can go to my website, which is www.u as the letter U R gems.com. You are gems. Now I couldn't write YOUARE gems, right? So it's urgems.com, and they can just click contact me, and also social media. I'm on Instagram. My Facebook page is You Are Gems, as well as I recently even got TikTok, and I'm on
Did you?
LinkedIn. I decided I'm going to jump in with the young people. So I just set up a TikTok account over the holidays. So I'm going to
Oh,
start posting some little career tips on that. So
oh,
all of those
excellent.
social media ways as well.
Oh, excellent. And you're kind enough to give to our viewing audience a gratitude and prayer
Yes,
journal
absolutely.
and
A
an
free
action
download.
planner.
Yes, they if you go to my webpage, just go to the shopping cart, click resources, and there's a button that says action planner and prayer journal. All you got to do is give me your email address and zip, you'll get a PDF, and it's a 30-day prayer gratitude journal and then an action planner that one can actually complete and begin to kind of get an assessment of what do I want to be when I grow up for that third, fourth, whatever time. So definitely,
Exactly.
absolutely,
Well,
absolutely. And
this has
reach
been
out to me. Yes.
Thank you. Excuse me for interrupting you. This has been Rich Beyond Words, and I am so delighted to give our audience just a sneak preview of Sarah. And you are one that encourages, equips, and empowers women and people
Yes.
in
Mm-hmm.
personal and professional pursuits, regardless of their circumstances.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
applaud you, and I wish you all the best. And thank you so
Oh,
much for joining us.
oh, thank you. And likewise, and continue to do the great job you're doing.
Appreciate that. So thank you, and thank you, viewing audience, for being with us for another wonderful interview, insights into people that have hurdled a lot of obstacles, and you can too. So go ahead and take advantage of Sarah's free gifts. And if this has empowered you, I hope it has, that you will turn that negative thought, that chatter, into something that's
Mhm.
productive because your brain doesn't know the difference. So let's imagine ourselves to be even more fulfilled than we were today and yesterday. And we are going to create together a very, very profoundly positive future. Yes, we are. We can do it, women. Yes, we can.